Hello everyone, welcome to your history class, and today I am continuing the third chapter from history, which is an empire across three continents. In my last class I have discussed with you the political and social system of the early Roman Empire, and today I will discuss with you the economic expansion of the Roman Empire. Remember student, this topic is very important, and from this topic you will know about the different types of economic conditions in the Roman Empire. Okay, wheat, wine, olive oil, these products traded in huge quantity, and these products were consumed by the Roman people. Remember students, these products, basically wheat, wine and olive oil, came from Spain, Gallic provinces, North Africa and Egypt. Wine and olive oil transported in a container called amphor. Remember student, it is very important for 1 mark question. So wheat and olive oil, these are transported in a containers called amphor. Next one, Spanish olive oil had huge demand and they have a huge market in the Roman Empire, and these Spanish olive oil transported in a container called drizzle 20. So don't mix up first one, that is wine and olive oil transported in a container called amphor, and next Spanish olive oil which is transported in a container that is known as drizzle 20. Okay, these container, basically drizzle 20, found in the Mediterranean Sea, which meant Spanish olive oil had huge market in the Roman Empire. Later, that is from 425 BCE, Aegean, Turkey, Syria, Palestine became major exporters of wine and olive oil. Next, the wealthiest part of the Roman Empire. Campania in Italy, Fayum in Egypt, Galilee and Byzantium in Tunisia, Baetica in Spain were all among the most densely settled or wealthiest part of the Roman Empire. You have to remember the names of the different parts. This is a different wealthiest part of the Roman Empire. Next, the best kinds of wine came from Campania, and large quantities wheat export to Rome from Sicily and Byzantium. Okay, you can see these are the important trading activities and these are the wealthiest part of the Roman Empire, right? And basically you understood that in this part all the people of the Roman Empire, they obtained their livelihood from the trade and commerce. Apart from this, there are another group people were resided in Roman Empire. These people or this group is known as transhumans. Remember student, transhuman was a semi-nomadic and pastoral communities. They are widespread in the countryside called Numidia, and it is Numidia. It is in modern day Algeria. Okay, so these pastoral and semi-nomadic communities carried their oven-shaped hut called Mapalia. So you can understood that they are a nomadic community. So whenever they settle down in different places, they usually carried their hut, and this hut is usually known as Mapalia. It is also important for 1 mark question. Next, okay, the northern Spain was less developed, and this was inhabited by Celtic speaking peasantry. I have already told you that Roman Empire was a vast cultural diversity region, and there are different types of linguistic groups were generally found in the Roman Empire. So in the northern part of Spain, Celtic speaking peasantry resided and lived in hilltop villages that is called Casalia. Okay, so you can find the different types of groups which are resided in the Roman Empire, and you can find there is also economic diversities are also there in the Roman Empire. Okay, our next topic, that is controlling workers. Okay, remember students, slaves were very crucial in the Roman economy. In my last class, I have discussed with you, slaves were usually part of the family system. Okay, and Roman upper class were often brutal towards the slaves, but ordinary people show much more compassion towards the slaves. In your book, that is NCERT page number 68, there is a passage called On the Treatment of Slaves. You can understand the condition of slaves in the Roman Empire, that a city prefect called Lucius Pedanius Secundus. I am repeating once again, Pedanius Secundus. He was murdered by one of his slaves. So the Roman Senate declared that all the slaves will be executed because of the murder of these city prefects. So you can understand that the condition of the slaves in the Roman Empire. So basically there are lots of slave revolts are there in the Roman Empire because the condition of the slaves were not so very easy, not so very good. And gradually, and I think you know that basically in the Roman Empire, the slaves, they have basically taken from the defeated region. The Roman Empire have a vast region, and it was expanded towards North Africa and Eastern Europe. So whenever the Roman Empire captured the region, the defeated people usually considered as the slaves. But gradually the supply of slaves declined, because as time warfare ended, so obviously the supply of slaves declined. But remember that the maintaining of the slave was a very there was a lots of investment for the owners of the slave. Just take an example from our daily life. I think in our house, basically domestic servants are mostly there, right? And we usually provide domestic servants monthly wages, right? And therefore, plus we usually provide them bonus in the puja vacation, and sometimes we offer them food. But suppose if we have a permanent servant in our house, then what will be in the case? Then we have to provide them salary, monthly salary, right? And we have to provide them at least 3 times food in a day, and obviously 2 times clothes in a year. So you can understood that what was the difference between the permanent servant and domestic servant. The expenditure become hugely increased. So the same condition was the Roman owners, who usually maintained the slaves. So they decided to free these slaves. So in this way, the slavery system was generally declined from the late Roman Empire. Sometimes there is a story that the owners, they freed their slaves, and sometimes they gave the charge of their business, and they usually maintained their business. In this way, the condition of these slaves were generally changing in the late Roman Empire, and finally the slavery system was totally ended in the late Roman Empire. So in your book, that is page number 68, there is a topic called controlling workers. Okay, in this topic there are lots of stories are there about the condition of the slaves. Please go through these topics, and because you will be able to understand the condition of the slaves in the Roman Empire. Okay, and please read this passage for your source based question. This is it for today. In my next class, I will tell you about the social hierarchy in the Roman Empire. Thank you and have a nice day.